Hey everybody, it is office hours. We moved the day just a little bit. Something about you guys getting snowstorms in the New England area. I don't know. So we had to move it a little bit over. Josh Tobar, proud principal of Memorial Pathway Academy and Garland ISD, Garland, USA for office hours. A 20-minute problem solving show. So wherever you are, whether Alaska or Hawaii, whether you're in Maine or Florida or anywhere in the 48 states, what would you do with this scenario? We're going to go around the band, starting up there with Mr. Main Man, Mr. Dean. Introduction to everybody.
Hey, Josh, thank you very much once again. Happy Thursday night to a Tuesday night. I almost said Thursday. Get my Wednesday night. My gosh, I got all my nights wrong. I apologize. Scrambled a little bit right here. Wednesday night for office hours special this week. Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that very much. An opportunity to come together and solve a real world problem in education. So my name is Dean Packard, the principal of Charlton Middle School in Charlton, Massachusetts. And great to see all of you here tonight with us. Let's go around the table very quickly and just introduce who you are and where you're from. Let's start with Abe on the upper left-hand corner to me.
Good evening, good people. Abe Rivera, actually an educator out of Bakersfield, California. We're Central California. I've been in the field for over 20 years. I'm really looking forward to the conversation.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Welcome to the table. Appreciate that. Chuck, you're up.
Chuck Moss, I'm the Director of Innovation and Development for Dinwiddie County Public Schools. And if you're familiar with Virginia at all, you go to Richmond, go about 40 miles to your southwest, or 40 minutes southwest, you get to Dinwiddie. This is I was trying to count it up the other day, 27th or 28th year in education. I'm not sure exactly which, but as long as my retirement system knows, that I'm in good shape.
Awesome. Great to have you here. And we can find you somewhere on the GPS map. No doubt about that. Victor.
Good stuff. Good evening, good people. Victor Powell, proud principal at Glasgow Middle School. We are the largest middle school in the state of Virginia. Also in Fairfax, which is in the DMV area and the DC area. Fairfax is the 11th largest district in the nation, and proud to be here.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Victor. And Regina.
Good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. I'm Dr. Regina Sims. I'm the proud principal of James Bowie Elementary in Goose Creek, CISD.
Awesome. Well, welcome aboard and glad to have you here, Regina. Josh, kick it back to you.
Here we go. Higher order thinking skills. I'm going to go for the deep thoughts. And we're going to start off with you, Doc. Here we go. Ready? What was your favorite high school song and why?
My favorite high school song?
Why?
I don't know.
We're going to come back to you.
Okay.
Victor.
High school?
Yeah. For me, anything Jodeci. Anything Jodeci. I was a big Jodeci fan. So, yeah, for me, anything Jodeci.
Abe?
Oh man, I'm definitely a child of hip hop. And I'm a West Coaster. So I'd have to go with probably the goodie or the oldie but goodie, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. That definitely represents my high school time.
Oh my goodness. Dean, back in the 50s.
I don't know about the 50s, but maybe a little Pat Benatar. Hit me with your best shot. How about that?
Oh, nice.
How about that?
Chuck.
Hey, for me, I'm a huge Aerosmith fan, always have been. So Sweet Emotion, Dream On. But Walk This Way by Run DMC brought me to Aerosmith. So I got to say, I'm crossing genres there. But really, my senior year, anything by Aerosmith.
Love it. Josh, how about you?
I'll get it right now, but we got to wait for Doc. She ain't going to get it.
I'm sorry, Doc.
I loved Prince, so I guess it was Purple Rain.
All right. Motley Crue is the only way to go in the late 80s. Motley Crue is the only way. You name it, we're right there. Kickstart my heart, baby. That's what it's all about right now. We're kickstarting this show. All right, next question, Victor. Do you prefer reading a book or hearing a book?
Oh, during the school year, listening to, I'm all about Audible. I have Audible every single day, but in the summer, definitely I need to turn the pages.
Doc?
I love reading the book because I like writing in my books, highlighting, taking notes inside my books. So, yeah.
Dean Packard?
I'm going to go with reading the book when I have time to sit down and do it. I just don't find the time as often as I like to.
Chuck?
I'm going to go with what Victor said. I mean, I'm all about Audible, especially on my commutes and whatnot, but I do tend to buy a hard copy of whatever book I'm listening to on Audible because I get different things from it when I listen to it and when I read it.
Abe,
I'm going to go with Doc. I appreciate a book in my hand, and I love to take notes and write in the margins and really reflect on what I'm reading. So I think it's easier for me to be able to do that when it's tangible and in my hands.
and you're right, Abe. The correct answer is reading a book, not that fake stuff listening to it. You're cheating. Cliff Notes. Hearing a book is not reading a book. Stop saying that, millennials. All right, here we go. Last question, Chuck.
It's all learning, man. It's all learning.
No, read the book. Here we go. Chuck, last question. March Madness or NFL playoffs?
Oh, wow. It's hard to answer that as a millennial. I'm going to tell you, I am all about the NFL. And this is what I tell my wife. I will watch high school football being broadcast from the middle of New Mexico. I don't care what it is. If there's a football game on, I will watch it. I'll watch the XFL, the USFL, but if it's NFL, all bets are off.
Doc.
March Madness.
Abe.
I'm going to go with the NFL. I think that's a national holiday, isn't it? The biggest, probably.
Victor.
This is not even close for me. I mean, I grew up in Kentucky, so everything I-65. So it's got to be the brackets, man. Come on now, this is not even close. It's not even close.
Mr. Official, Mr. Lead Official of Massachusetts.
Josh, what do you think I'm going to say? Come on.
Just say it. Get
Come
it over
on, man.
with.
The brackets, baby. March Madness is what it's all about. We do that in school with kids, for crying out loud. Probability, statistics. Come on. It's a great lesson for kids.
And that's the answer. There's nothing better than number 15 beating number 2, right? There's nothing better than that. All right. What would you do? Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here goes the scenario for those of you watching us on YouTube, watching us on Twitter, so on all the social platforms. What would you do? Here we go. And we're going to start off with Chuck. You're finished your first year at your school, and you're learning about the different personalities and who does what at your school. One team member has been at that school for 28 years. This team member is known all over the district, especially by the main bosses at central office, due to his leadership in facilitating a yearly academic competition. He recently won Teacher of the Year for your school and for the region. He is in your department and he shows up late to meetings. While in the meetings, he feels that all the information does not pertain to him. You see him often on his cell, in his phone, in the hallway during instruction time, and you and his AP scores, advanced placement scores, they're all weak or non-existent. Chuck Moss, what do you do?
Well, let me start by asking a question. Am I in a position as an administrator or am I a peer as administrator? Okay. One of the things that I do when I start the year is I have everybody prepare a why statement for me. And then when I have to have difficult conversations, we sit down and I put that why statement in front of us and I'll ask questions about those scores and about the behavior at staff meetings and whatnot and say, let me know how this informs your why. When you told me who you wanted to be, when you told me why you were doing this, what about your behavior is really informing that why? What about that is something that the person in the why statement would be proud of? And that allows us to have a different kind of conversation because now they are involved in evaluating their own behavior, thinking about how their own behavior might go against that why statement because no one writes a why statement saying, I'm looking forward to being mediocre. Every why statement is about how to be awesome, what you need to do to bring it for kids. And so when you have that conversation, you can say, these are your own words. And in your own words, are you living up to who you said you wanted to be?
Thank you. Victor, talk to us. What would you do?
Yeah, I think the first thing that came to my mind was, if I'm a new administrator, new principal in a building, one of the first things I'm going to do is a listening tour. I'm going to connect with various individuals and groups that kind of give me some of that, I would say, street data, on the school, right, and on those individuals. And my hope would be that I've met with this individual before. So kind of to Chuck's point, I'm going to use that information like leading into that, right? To have that conversation. Me personally, also, I like to kind of do some reconnaissance on that. I'm going to look at previous evaluations. I'm going to look at previous goals, right? Kind of to Chuck's point, to use some of that language that has already been addressed or things that that person has put in as evidence or tools to reference as well, to give honor and pay homage to the experience that they've had, right? Definitely want to have those kudos, lay that out. I think a third thing that I would do is I like to pull up people's job descriptions, right? You know, like this is your, like, let's make sure that we're having a conversation about what your roles and responsibilities are and matching. What does that look like, boots on the ground? Like, how are you meeting that, right? I think it's a conversation, not necessarily just punitive. Those things that are coming out in this scenario are going to come out in that conversation, right? So those would be just 3 things that kind of pop in my mind right now as far as things that I would do knee-jerk reaction based on this, I would say a few paragraphs, if you will.
Doc.
So as I listen to both gentlemen, I can take some of what each of them said and state what I would do. The relationship building is important to me as a new administrator, getting to know everyone. Also, what we've been incorporating, because we do find it as new leaders, there's institutional knowledge that that person could also bring to the table and to give me. So what I would do is we do what we call feedback walkthroughs. So during my feedback walkthroughs, that's how I'm able to build a relationship, because this is not really tied to their appraisal. It's just something for us to give feedback and for us to have collaborative discussions. So that's something that I would do with the person. And also I would give him his glows, like talk about he or she, whoever it is, his glows about what he's doing well, what he's done in the past, and have him to collaborate with me on how we can lead together, because I feel like I'm a transformational leader. So I'm very good at inspiring and motivating my staff to come alongside me so that we can do what's best for kids. So with those things that he's doing incorrectly on the cell phone, we could talk about it like Mr. Victor stated, we would talk about and have those discussions. Are these things that a leader would do? Give me some feedback. What do you think you should be doing based on your leadership, based on you being a veteran employee or a veteran teacher on my campus? So those type of collaborative conversations, talking about those things. And like he said, not punitive, but that we can have so that this person can be self-reflective, because a reflective practitioner is a great practitioner. So I would look at those type of things with that person, and then try to continue to build that relationship so that it's not negative, that it's not a got you, but I got you.
Right.
Abe.
Oh man, these great answers, by the way. I love what everybody said. I mean, I think, I love Chuck's idea of bringing him to his why and making sure he understands his why as he moves forward. Victor was saying really relying on connection and understanding the definition of the role that he's empowered with. I love the doctor's idea of relationship, building the relationship, building someone up. So I love those. And I'm thinking, man, what would I add? And I think my biggest piece probably would be, I would add, establishing or making sure that everybody is moving forward with the same norms. And once we've agreed to a norm as a team, then we're going to hold each other accountable to that idea. And I think at times, even though it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, we have to be brave enough to have that uncomfortable conversation, because we are leaders, right? And we want to move forward for, like what Doctor said, what's best for kids. And unfortunately, being on your phone isn't what's best for kids. We need to be present. So I would add, making sure that we understand what our norms are and holding each other accountable with that idea.
Dean Packard.
Yeah, I'm going to take what Abe just said and just bring it to another level. I have an expectation of systems in my building, and those systems are in place for a reason. And the systems of high quality teaching means that you're committed to everything that we do all the time. It doesn't mean anything more, anything less than it's not personal. It's about the kid's best interest. And by doing so, we agree to these systems and core values prior to the school year starting. So again, when we have to refer back to somebody deviating from the fairway of the expectation, guess what? It's about the whole. It's about what we believe in. It's a universal design for high quality learning. And again, when those systems aren't being followed, it's a very easy easy discussion to have, because it's not about my belief. It's about the belief that we have collectively about what's good for kids. So at the end of the day, we would hope that those type of individuals are outliers and they're not something that is a big part of an overall teaching faculty.
The only thing I would sprinkle in there on in regards to the scenario, it has to do with, we all have walked into campuses, and Chuck, you see it from the district level, when we have stalwarts.
Mhm.
And some of those stalwarts, I would say 60% of those are weebies. Have you all heard about the weebies? Victor, you know who the weebies are?
Go ahead, Josh, let it out.
Yes.
Dean, tell them who the weebies are.
We be here before you, we be here after you, we be knowing everything that needs to get done. No, we be.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a scenario like this, on my behalf, and that's where you do gain political points or you don't, is having the awkward conversations you need to have.
Yeah.
And a lot of people that sit in our chair don't have the wherewithal to have those awkward conversations with the weebies, because they give all the spotlight to the weebies. They allow them to control conferences. They allow them to control faculty meetings by their body language, by their grading papers, by whatever it is. And if you don't have the wherewithal to sit in front of them, especially, let's say a school, a 5A school, Texas terminology here, 5A school is 1,800 people, or a 6A school with 3,000 people, imagine the faculty and staff, a small number of weebies is a large number.
Yep.
And if you don't have that conversation, that awkward conversation, your credibility, you sitting in that chair, whether it be as an AP or principal, is totally shot out the window, and anarchy continues. And when anarchy continues, kids suffer.
Yeah.
You do.
And so you have to have that. And we've all walked in, and someone mentioned earlier about the previous evaluation. Victor, I think that was you.
Yeah.
Well, as I don't know about you, it's only my 31 years, but when you walk into that kind of situation, the previous administrator gave him glowing evaluations because they didn't want to have the awkward conversation.
Right.
And when you walk in there, you're like, you ain't all that in a bag of chips, bro. You're out in the hallway talking your business. So it's one of those things that people don't teach you at master school. People don't teach you at your certification school. No one ever tells you that these are the conversations that make or break your principal or you as a future principal, because those people are the ones talking, chirping to board members. Those are the people chirping to central office and above. What do you guys think about that, Abe?
No, I think that's right on. I mean, I think the idea to address the facade that, you know, that the person is exhibiting, you know, we have to be brave enough to do that. So I agree wholeheartedly with that idea of confronting behavior that's not best for kids. It's really that simple.
Victor?
Yeah, I agree. I think, you know, it was something I was talking to one of our staff members today about, and it was really along these same lines. It was just a different situation. That clarity is kindness, right? We think sometimes to skate around it or not, it's actually being unkind, not being upfront with somebody and really being able to tell them the truth in love, right? It's how you do it, how you deliver it, and making sure it's done the right way. And as I was saying earlier, for me, I like to gather as much information as possible, even if it is information that was done incorrectly as far as, you know, the previous evaluation, so that I'm coming in with the most information possible to have that conversation boldly and confidently, but also in love. You know, I think it has to be done in the right way so people know that not only you can be firm, but you're going to be fair, right? And that your approach is not one as an iron fist, but one that's surgical, right? I think that's what I heard Dean saying earlier as far as I have systems in place. There are structures in place, and using those as leverage, right, in those conversations. So I definitely agree.
Doc?
Yes, I say ditto to what both gentlemen have stated. That's something that I can say. In the previous district, when I was assistant principal, we did have training on having difficult conversations. So I did get somewhat of training, but it's a different when you're the principal and you're in the seat and you AP, I can always fall back on my principal. But when you are the principal, you have to, and I'm training my APs under me. So to have those difficult conversations, but like Mr. Victor said, you do it with love and you do it with grace. And like I said, I want to see you grow. I want to see you do better. I want to see the kids do better, but they can't do better if we don't do better. So those are my conversations that I'll have with when I have those difficult conversations. And I know sometimes it's hard, it's difficult, but I always preface it with something positive before I start. I try to find a glow, something that they're doing magnificently well. And then I follow in with what my concerns are. And then, like I said, we have those reflective conversations, and sometimes they agree and sometimes they don't. But because I'm respectful, I get the respect back.
Yeah.
Dean Packard.
The respect thing is huge. And again, when they go high, we go low. We got to find a common denominator. The common denominator is you've been hired to do a job, and the job is very simple. You are to help engage kids to the highest level that they can possibly be. And you have a professional obligation to meet all the things in place that we do. And again, that's not personal in any way, shape, or form. Those conversations have to happen as a result of the person who sits in our seat. They aren't easy. And again, if you stay on top of it and you get out in front of them, guess what? There won't be that many of them, because the faculty and staff will see that you're holding the people accountable that need to be held accountable. And it makes it a little bit easier down the road.
Chuck.
Well, as I'm listening to everybody talk, relationships, clarity, feedback, and all of those things have to be meaningful, because the best relationships are based on meaningful, clear feedback in your life and in your school and whatnot. That's where it comes down to. And exactly what Dean was saying, your student data. How are you making a difference in kids? How are you making them better? Why did they spend an hour with you today? If they're not doing that, if they're not achieving, then that gives you a place to talk about, say, this is the bottom line. Because I can teach all day long and cause no learning. Are you causing learning in those kids?
Great point. Fantastic point.
And that's it. That's the bell right there for office hours. Thank you for being here. Hey, Victor, Dean, Chuck, Doc, thank you for being here. Don't forget this Sunday, our flagship show, 7 p.m. Eastern with author Jessica Landers. And next Thursday, the Red Zone, special ed. That means educating all. So join us for the next couple of shows that we have. Great things are going on. Thanks to that guy up there, Dean Packard. We're
that guy down there down south. Don't sell yourself short, Dr. Tovar. Hey, listen, have a great week, everybody. We appreciate you all being here tonight. Again, make a difference for kids, because kids deserve the best versions of ourselves. Have a great week, everybody. Staff, hold on.